Hello everyone, welcome to my channel Chem Insider. In the previous videos, we learnt about what are the introductional factors of reactions. Like for example, we learnt different types of reactions like addition, elimination, new substitution reactions, and also acid-base reaction, and how those reactions require certain amount of energy of activation in order to carry out certain process, right? As we have discussed, acid base reactions require very low energy of activation, and they are usually the first one to occur in a given reaction if possible, or else the other one will be carrying out the remaining processes. Now, from today's class onwards, we'll be starting to discuss about different reagents. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make two videos on each reagent. So in the first video, we'll discuss about the introductory factors of the reagent which are carrying out for that particular class, and we'll learn some of the factors of it by involving some examples. Like if you consider for a particular reagent, those reagents will be undergoing different types of reactions. They will be carrying out different types of reactions. So we'll consider only a few examples in the first video and the rest in the next video. Okay. Once I'm completely done with all the reagents of maximum of 25 to 26 reagents are there. So when we come to completion of those 25-26 reagents, then we'll go on for a video series of solving previous year question papers. Okay. So now, why am I doing the question paper in the last is because whenever you go for exam pattern, what they do is the question papers will be having reagent questions in such a way that for a particular single reaction there will be multiple reagents used. So if I just explain one question, it may be saying that you need to carry out a process of let us say reduction of an acetone group or acetone group. So first they'll ask you to react that particular reagent with lithium aluminum hydride. Then you have to treat the given product with acetone in presence of pyridine. Then you have to treat it with Gilman reagent. So in this case, once you learn the first video, you will be knowing how to treat the Gilman reagent, but you won't be knowing the factors or reagent properties of the other two. Therefore, first we'll complete maximum most of the reagents, then we'll go to solve the previous year question papers, so that we will get the better idea of how the particular reaction works. Okay. So now for this today's class, we are going to start with a reagent named Gilman reagent. In the previous class, I told you about two types of reagents. One is a soft reagent, one is a hard reagent, right? So there are certain factors which define a given reagent being a soft reagent or a hard reagent. So here the Gilman reagent, which is of the formula R2CuLi. This Gilman reagent is a type of soft reagent. Okay, Gilman reagent is a type of soft reagent which usually which usually undergoes addition reaction. Okay, this usually carries addition reaction in the type of Michael's addition. Okay, they usually favor Michael's addition because of the softness of the reagent. So what we are going to do here is, if you are making notes for yourself, first, once you write down the reagent, let us make some certain points in order to classify that particular reagent, how that is working. Okay. So first, it always promotes Michael's addition, and it favors formation of carbene ion nucleophile. Okay. It forms carbene ion nucleophile. Gilman reagent forms carbene ion nucleophile, and this Gilman reagent always carries SN2 mechanism or always follows SN2 mechanism. Okay, Gilman reagent always follows SN2 mechanism. You know SN2 mechanism. What does SN2 mechanism mean? So if a reaction is carrying out in a single process and the rate of the reaction is depending upon two reagents, a carbocation and the nucleophile, then the given compound is reaction is said to be SN2 reaction, right? So this particular Gilman reagent always follows SN2 mechanism. So what is the application of Gilman reagent? So the applications of Gilman reagent is it mainly reacts with certain classes of compounds only, and foremost, if you are for considering this reaction for your net, gate or caset type of reactions, this Gilman reagent is also required for people who are considering an industrial jobs also. That is because it supports carbon-carbon coupling reaction. Okay, this reaction or this reagent supports carbon-carbon coupling. That is, the alkyl or aryl group present in the Gilman reagent is transferred to the substrate which we are treating this reagent with. Okay, it usually supports the carbon-carbon coupling reaction. So how does it treat those carbon-carbon coupling reaction is they carry out addition of carbon group to aryl, alkyl or vinyl type of halides. Aryl, alkyl and vinylic halides are subjected to when they are subjected to this Gilman reagent, they carry out carbon-carbon coupling reagents, and further this reagent is also used to bring about epoxide ring opening. Okay, the third most important application of Gilman reagent is this favor epoxide ring opening. So these factors have to be known for you in order to understand the Gilman reagent in a simple basic manner. So these are the important points, that is Gilman reagents usually supports Michael addition, and they always form carbene ion nucleophile, and it follows SN2 mechanism. Okay, Gilman reagent is also further called as organocopper reagent. It is also called as organocopper reagent. Okay, so next we'll discuss about the different factors, how it is prepared. So now we'll discuss how it is being prepared in our laboratory. How can we prepare a Gilman reagent in our laboratory? So for that, first we need to prepare organolithium. So we know how organolithium compounds are to be prepared. So when organolithium compounds are treated with cuprous iodide, okay, when you treat them with cupric iodide, they give us R2CuLi, leaving behind lithium iodide. So this is how we prepare the Gilman reagent. So there is no certain conditions for the preparation of Gilman reagent, but they usually follow a low temperature of -78 degree. If you have to treat Gilman reagent, so the temperature of the reaction should be less than should be around -78 degrees centigrade. Okay, so that is the temperature at which Gilman reagent works. Temperature, the low temperature of -78 degree is where this Gilman reagent works. So this is the working temperature for Gilman reagent. So what are the different types of reactions this Gilman reagent brings about? Gilman reagents brings about 5 or 6 specific reactions in case of their stereospecificity. First one is alkyl halide conversion. Okay, so they convert alkyl halides into alkane groups or alkyne groups or hydrocarbons. That is nothing but they are removing the hydrogen or halogen groups. So when Gilman reagent is treated with alkyl halide, they bring about a change of inversion in configuration. Okay, so they bring about the change in inversion in configuration. So what is inversion in configuration? We learn this more about the inversion in configuration in stereochemistry classes. So if you have an idea about that, that will be good. So now alkyl halides, when you treat them with Gilman reagent, what they do is the lithium or copper group present in the Gilman reagent breaks down the halogen and carbon bond, inducing a carbene ion to the alkyl group. Similarly to the aryl or vinyl groups also, but here the case is instead of changing the configuration, it retains the configuration. So therefore it is called to be the stereospecificity here is they retain the structure. Okay, so the configuration is retained, therefore it is called the retention in configuration. If alkyl halide is treated with Gilman reagent, we observe inversion in configuration. If alkyl halide is treated aryl halide or vinyl halide, that is halide group attached to carbon which is in turn attached to carbon-carbon double bond. Okay, so this type of halides are called vinyl halides. So if aryl halide or vinyl halide is treated with Gilman reagent, retention in configuration takes place. Now If you consider for epoxide ring opening also, there again the retention takes place. The retention of the configuration will be carried out. The configuration will be retained and there will be no change in the configuration. Next is, if you are treating Gilman reagent to a compound containing a protecting group or a leaving group. If you are treating Gilman reagent to a substrate which contains a protecting group or a leaving group, so this usually, as I said, it forms the SN2 mechanism. It follows SN2 mechanism. So what are the protecting groups? So for example, if you are using tosylate protecting group, or if you are using OAC, or if you are considering a halogens as a leaving group, or if you can consider nucleophiles of CHO, something like that, are to be considered as a nuclear leaving groups, then those leaving groups are removed from the compound in such a way that it follows the SN2 mechanism. That is, the Gilman reagent attacks the substrate in the opposite direction than that of the protecting group where it is attached. We'll learn more about that using certain examples. Okay. Next is, if you have allylic halides or allylic epoxide, that is, if you have carbon-carbon double bonded species present in the group, and this carbon is in turn attached to one more carbon, and which is then attached to an halide group, or if it is attached to an epoxide ring, okay, like this. So in these cases, what happens is there will be migration of double bond or triple bond possible. The double bond or triple bond gets migrated in order to retain the structure. We'll learn more about these examples once we go through the examples. Okay, so just for you can here write on the point, that means migration of double or triple bond is found. Okay, when Gilman reagent is treated with allyl halide or epoxide, migration of double or triple bond takes place. Okay, migration of double or triple bond is found. So these are the simple process where the Gilman reagent acts on the stereo of a given reagent. So first one is, when they are treated with alkyl halide, they carry out inversion in the configuration. When they are treated with aryl or vinyl halides, they carry out retention in configuration, similar to the epoxide ring opening also. And if you have a protecting group or a leaving group present in the compound already or substrate already, then those reactions are clearly shown to be SN2 kind of mechanism. And if allylic halide or epoxide is treated, then those compounds usually form a migration in double or triple bond. Okay, so these are the simple Gilman reagents action. So now first we will discuss about the allyl halide and aryl or vinyl halide examples of Gilman reagent. In the next video we will learn more about the epoxide ring opening, presence of protecting or leaving group, and about the allylic halide and epoxide. Okay, so now example 1. So this is a similar example of alkyl halide reaction. So when alkyl halides are treated with Gilman reagent, so what does the reaction, how does the reaction takes place? And don't confuse this as an epoxide. Okay, this is not an epoxide ring. This is not epoxide ring, because epoxide should be a 3-membered ring which contains at least one oxygen atom. So there is no oxygen atom here. This is simple di ring. Okay, so it is a bicircular compound. So it is containing 2 bromine atoms. So how does these two reaction take place? So one point before starting the example is, I have always considered, and throughout the Gilman reagent process, I have considered only one type of Gilman reagent, that is CH3 twice CuLi, which is also written as Me twice CuLi. So here you can prepare any type of the Gilman reagent. That doesn't matter if you are using CH3, or that is a methyl cuprum lithiate, or you can also use ethyl also, or propyl also. For the simplicity of the examples, I am just considering CH3 as an example of alkyl group here. You can take any example of a Gilman reagent. Okay, so now in the first reaction we have an alkyl iodide, that is propyl iodide. So the propyl iodide present over here, the propyl iodide has an iodine group present at the terminal position. So what happens in this reaction is, we prepare butane, CH3, CH2, CH2, CH3. So this is the reaction product. Okay, so when you treat alkyl lithium, alkyl copper reagent of alkyl copper lithium reagent, that is nothing but our Gilman reagent with alkyl halides, we prepare alkanes, or you can say that hydrocarbons are to be prepared if you are using certain Gilman reagent with alkyl or aryl halides. So what happens in this reaction? We are considering the bond formation between one of the CH3 group of organo-Gilman reagent with the carbon attached with the iodine group. So this is similar to SN2 type of mechanism. So CH3 groups will be attacking from this side. As a result, I will be left out. Since the group is attacking in a different direction, if you write the three-dimensional structure of that, so let us say C, H, I, H, let us say we'll take this C2H5 over here, and we'll take the H on the hydrogen bond like this. Okay, so when you attack this CH3 group, the CH3 carbon ion being and profiled already to the nucleophile, that is carbonyl nucleophile, this attacks the group from this direction. As a result, this bond breaks down. So this is a single step reaction carrying out a SN1 mechanism, sorry, SN2 mechanism. So therefore we get a hydrocarbon through a single step itself. Okay, so this is alkyl halide reaction where we observe carbon-carbon bonding. So if you have any reactions where we are generating a new bond or forming a new bond between carbon-carbon, then those type of reactions are said to be carbon-carbon coupling reaction. So these reactions are called carbon-carbon coupling reaction. This process of preparation was explained by scientists named Corey and House. So therefore, this synthesis of carbon-carbon coupling is also considered with other name, that is Corey-House synthesis. Okay, Corey-House synthesis involves the formation of carbon-carbon coupling. So if you are considering for industrial kind of a jobs, this Corey-House synthesis concept is very, very important, because most of the industrial compounds which are to be prepared involves creating new bonds between carbon-carbon atom, carbon-oxygen atom, and carbon-nitrogen atom. Okay, so this is the first example. Now if you consider for the second example, here we have two bromine groups. Okay, since we have two bromine groups, we can treat this CH3,2CuLi with twice the compounds. So therefore, we may get the compound as such, with a cyclohexane and two methyl groups CH3 and CH3 being attached over here. Okay, so one thing you have to remember over here is, if they are giving just one quantity, okay, one equivalent, so then the reaction is one of the bromine will be replaced, not both. Okay, only one among the bromine will be replaced, not both of the bromine atoms. So if they are giving excess of organic reagent, then both the bromide will be replaced. So this is the simple example of alkyl halide being treated with our what we say methyl or Gilman reagent. Now if you consider for epoxide, yes, just consider for an example of epoxide ring opening. So here, as I said in the previous class itself, that is, whenever you consider for epoxide ring reaction, soft reagents attacks the species where they are less sterically hindered, right? So being organolithium Gilman reagent is a soft reagent, what it does is it attacks the less steric position, because this carbon has more bonds or more higher atomic bonds when compared to this carbon. So therefore the organolithium compound attacks over here, this bond breaks down in order to form our resulting ring opening. So the compound formed over here is OH, R, CH3, CH2, CH3. Okay, so this is CH2 and this is our CH3 group. So therefore this is CH2, CH3 with the carbon which was already present over here. Okay, now whenever you consider for certain examples involving benzene rings, so here it is an example of a tosyl group present. So here the CH3 twice compound that is the Gilman reagent, will be attacking our tosyl group from away direction. So how to understand this concept? Now let us just write down this reaction as a simple phase. Just consider the CH3 carbon ion making an XO attack, because this CH3 group is already in the endo position. This tosyl group is already in the endo position, therefore this CH3 group will be attacking from the XO direction. So the desired product, the product which is formed during the reaction, can be written as H being come over here, CH3 this position. Okay, this is the product which is formed when you treat the leaving group with our given compound. Now in the next example, see here in this example we have an allylic group, okay, and we have a CH3 group. So here this is a leaving group. Now what happens when we treat this reaction? As I said earlier, if you have allylic halide or arylic halide, or if you are considering for groups which are leaving the compound, then the reaction takes place in such a way that there will be inversion of addition. So like say let us write on the chair form of this structure. Okay, so this compound has OCH3 in this position, OCOCH3. so this carbon has CH3 in this direction, that is in axial position. Now we have a double bond over here. The attack should be SN2 mechanism, such that the leaving group is leaving in the opposite direction from that of the attack of ethyl group. So if you consider C2H5 being attacking from this side, so what happens is, if it attacks from the axial position, if it tries to attack from the axial position, because of the presence of CH3 groups in the axial position of third carbon, so this is first, second and third, if we named it like this. So if it attacks the fifth carbon in the axial direction, because of the presence of CH3 group in the third position, they will be experiencing some steric hindrance. Therefore this C2H5 group will be attacking from the equatorial position. So if the compound is attacking from the equatorial position, that means it should be opposite in the bond direction. So therefore the desired or the product which is formed after the completion of the reaction is, as I said earlier, if you have a double bond with the leaving group, then the double bond starts to migrate. So when the C2H5 groups attacks this carbon, the double bond migrates to this position. As a result, the group will be left. So now if you write down the chair form of this reaction, it is like this. So here we have C2H5, we have CH3 in this direction, and we have a double bond at this position. So this structure can be represented in also in the other form, that is, so the double bond is over here. The C2H5 group will be in wedge bond, so that is away from the observer, and the CH3 group which was already present will be towards the observer. So this is the product form when you treat this compound with our Gilman reagent. Okay, so this is all about for today. In the next video we'll discuss solving more examples related to this concept, and we'll explain a very important concept of previous year question that just to ask about the treating of Gilman reagent with a given product substrate. Okay, so I hope you have understood these examples which I have solved. If you have any doubts about the examples which you have come across in your textbooks or any classes, you can mail those to me so that I can explain you those examples in the next videos. Thank you for watching.